Is that it? A shepherd dressed in his Sunday's finest still reeks of lamb, Hajime Hinata.
Does that mean you have a rebuttal?
In the simplest form, yes.
Does that mean you have a rebuttal? That's a good line.
Save it for later, you're gonna need it, buddy.
But are you sure you're sure? If I show you how serious I am, this world might be destroyed, you know.
Well, at this point, screw the world. Let's hear it. Just do it, Hajime.
You're so frightened you can't even make a sound. It seems you've realized our difference in status.
It's more undefined confusion.
However, the time for conviction starts now. You better entertain me to the fullest. You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to... Ah! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor. You can't step on blood that was never... Just did you see a nice nightmare?
I can't back down! As long as Ibuki's body has no open wounds, there's no doubt that that blood is Hyoko's.
Hyoko was taped to the pillar, yes, but it's possible that the pillar still had blood on it. However, you cannot step on the pillar with your feet. You should feel proud of yourself. It's been nearly 3 years since I've had to use 60% of my power.
Damn it!
That's right. We actually do need to go back to the original topic. Every time you have a rebuttal, the statement can be in the first or the second, and I made the mistake of going to the second one. We do have to go back to the original topic, because he actually said what I needed to slice, right there!
Allow me to cut through those words! That's not it. The reason there was no blood on the floor is because the killer wiped it away afterward.
Don't say such foolish things! You don't have proof of that at all!
Yes, I do. If you look closely, there's a streak on the floor where blood was wiped away.
When the killer tried to hide Hyoko's body, they probably cleaned the blood at the same time, but... Ibuki must have already stepped in it, and the killer probably didn't even realize it.
The reason they wiped off the blood on the floor was so we'd mix up the order of the murders, right? Even if they're able to hide Hyoko's body, it'd be bad if her blood was left out in the open.
Plus, Ibuki's body was left out in the open, and it wasn't bleeding from any open wounds at all.
Hyoko's body was probably wrapped in duct tape to stop her bleeding. Actually, the bleeding will stop once the heart stops beating, so I don't think they had to go that far. Aside from Mikon, none of us were aware of that fact, so the killer probably did not know it either.
Safe to assume that, yeah.
Maybe the heater was running inside the music venue so it would screw with Mikon's autopsy?
That's what I was thinking. Almost immediately, actually.
That's right! I didn't know the time of death because of the heater!
The time of death wasn't mentioned in the Monokuma file just to keep concrete evidence from us.
Yep. Since we have all this evidence, there's no one else who wants to object, right?
Do I hear an objection? Better not.
Then it's decided. Hyoko was killed before Ibuki.
I think we can all agree on that.
It appears that it is wiser to retreat for now.
We actually shut up Gundam Tanaka. Never thought I'd see the day.
Fine then, but regardless of good or evil, there's no deceit in upholding one's convictions.
Can't you just shut up and back off?
Now then, let us resume our debate.
Wait a sec. There's something I want to run by Monokuma first.
Huh? Again? Didn't something like this happen last time, too?
Hey, if the victim actually committed suicide, what are we supposed to do?
Well, we need to brush up on Danganronpa 1. So, essentially, Nagito's asking, if we are our own killer, what do we do then?
The same as always, you have to vote for who the killer is.
Oh no, I just thought of something.
Think about it. A suicide means you've killed the most important existence of all, yourself. Unfortunately, that means there's no Blacken to punish, but I guess in a pinch, I can always punish Monami.
Actually, I'd pay money to see it.
Why me?
Nagito, what do you mean? If the victim actually committed suicide?
I think this is what he was talking about earlier with me. He wanted to confirm something.
Well, I mean, I understand Hyoko's death, but I'm wondering if Ibuki was really murdered. For example, it's possible Ibuki killed Hyoko and then committed suicide due to a guilty conscience, right?
That's the most plausible explanation.
That's totally impossible! Then she never would have killed her to begin with!
She was afflicted by the despair disease, remember? That means anything can happen.
But if Ibuki's the killer, she wouldn't have been able to falsify the sequence of the murders, right?
Ooh, you're right.
After Hajime saw the hanged body, the sudden appearance of Hyoko's body soon after means
There was either an accomplice, or, I think what Nagito's getting at, the true killer.
the killer had to be alive at that time.
Ooh, wow.
Then she was alive! When Hajime first discovered Ibuki, she was just pretending to be dead.
Alright, you had me for a second and now you lost me. That's impossible.
If she waited until Hajime left, that's when she could have made her move and mess with the crime scene.
Oh, I seriously doubt that, my friend.
She hanged herself, remember? There's no fucking way she could have faked that.
And if she was going to fake her death, I think she wouldn't have chosen hanging.
I mean, when you're hanging, there really is no way to save yourself from that. You're kind of screwed at that point when you're a few feet in the air.
Her body would have been defenseless in that state. If anyone touched her, that alone would have ruined her plan.
I see. So that means
Care to go round two?
there's no doubt that someone killed those two. I'm glad. Now I'm free to search for the killer.
What the heck?
There's still one more issue on my mind. If Ibuki didn't commit suicide, then just what was that video Hajime saw? According to that video you saw, Ibuki was by herself when she climbed the stepladder, right? Then does that mean someone forced her to do it?
That would make them the true killer.
Forced? Perhaps they used hypnotism or something?
Or gullibility.
I don't know anything about that.
Don't say it all proud.
Putting that aside, it seems obvious that the killer did something. So, maybe we should figure out who was able to do whatever that was.
So, an alibi.
And two people who are still missing one. Sonia?
Then our plan is to destroy the weakest alibi.
You seem a bit fired up about this. You ready to actually talk?
Since Hajime has seen the video, it is clear what time the crime took place.
But just to be sure, that surveillance camera doesn't have a record function, right?
It's a cheap-ass surveillance camera, you know? There's no way it'd have some kind of sweet recording feature.
Then, the video Hajime saw was actually live?
What time did Hajime see that video?
I saw it at the hospital, right before Monokuma's morning announcement. And I saw the body at the music venue a little after Monokuma's announcement.
So Ibuki hanged herself right before Monokuma's announcement. And since we established that Hyoko was killed before Ibuki, that means the time that the murders occurred was before and during the announcement.
Then, we just have to find the person who doesn't have an alibi during that time?
Wow. Wow. That opens up a floodgate.
Now then, I shall issue my decree. Let Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi commence!
I'll listen to the princess.
We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has failed!
You're a failure, Ultimate Princess. More like Ultimate Fraud. Actually, no. That last statement you said. That last statement I like. There is
We can
one
exclude the
person.
sick people like me and Akane,
One
right?
person who actually had an alibi for this. If we are to believe that this happened before the Monokuma announcement,
Aside from those
then this
afflicted by the
means there is
disease,
only one single person who has an alibi. Mikon.
No, that's wrong! Hold on. Not all of us are missing an alibi. In fact, Mikon and I both have alibis.
Well, I mean, besides me, but that goes without saying.
You two have alibis?
Oh no! Oh God! We actually have to reveal the truth!
Up until I saw that hanging video, Mikon and I were actually together for a while.
Starting out in bed.
We even woke up together that morning.
You should not have said that!
Hey, what kind of situation is that?
A misunderstanding in the best way possible.
I accidentally fell asleep on top of Hajime.
Fully clothed, I should add. I kind of expected that answer from every single woman in the room.
Too much info.
Okay. Well, to be fair, you trolled me earlier when I thought you weren't wearing anything in a dark room.
Yeah, it's not like that. She just came to tell me Nagato's condition had improved.
And then fell asleep on top of me. It happens.
And we went to the hospital together afterward. So we were together until right before the announcement.
I get it. You guys have alibis.
If that's the case, the killer must be someone else.
It's better if we think about it like that. The killer decided to falsify the murder sequence to hide the actual time of the crime anyway.
So it's inevitable that an alibi for both before and during the morning announcement would be very important.
It feels like Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has backed us into a corner instead.
But committing an imitation murder, is that really all it was? Faking the time the crime occurred by falsifying the murder sequence, hiding their alibi in the process? Was that the only reason the killer made both bodies imitate the movie?
Are you saying there was another reason?
I want to hear this. Nagito, you have the floor.
I'd feel really bad for confusing you guys so much, but that's how I feel. I think the killer had a completely different reason for falsifying the murder sequence.
I need to think about this. What reason would they have? Well, that means this trial is going on a lot farther. Since nobody has an alibi, we need to think of a different topic to go off of. All these extra details are done to distract us. How do we get out of this? We'll have to come up with a different tactic to figure out who done it. Somebody who's smarter than they look, I guess. Because, again, this case is diabolical.
idea!
Stop it!
Boo! Get off the stage!
What a disappointment!